I'm going to show you the pine cone template. Your first strokes in the front are going to be staggered, and that very first stroke is going to start on that baseline. It's not going to go all the way to the top. It's going to go like 3/4 of the way. Then your next stroke is going to stagger. So it's not going to start on the baseline. You're going to come, about quarter way up, and then curve your stroke coming to the top line. And you're going to repeat that all the way through until your transition. So the transition is where the direction of hair growth changes, and normally you will have that marked when you do your brow mapping. So let's just say it's right about here, and I'm just eyeballing it, so sorry if it's not perfect. Here are my transitions. All of these strokes in the front are going to be moving up and over, keeping these front strokes nice and tight and staggering them every other stroke. So every other stroke, one starts at the baseline and then one ends at the top line. See how it's starting to curve so that I can reach this transition and it just flows. So now I'm at that transition. I want to create the skeleton of my microblading strokes. That way I can wipe off all this pigment and then fill in the body strokes. I'm going to complete all of the strokes that start at the baseline, finishing at the tail. So evenly spaced strokes right here on the baseline. And then when I get closer to the tail, you're gonna see how these strokes kind of overlap. Now let's do the strokes on this top line. These strokes really need to hug that brow mapping line. Now we have our skeleton. This is where we're gonna go back in and add all of these strokes in the body to finish out this stroke template. The goal of this is to get these strokes to flow in the same direction and make it look like a clear, fluid movement. There's two different ways you can do it. You can stagger these strokes coming in between all of these strokes that are touching the baseline, or if you want a really clean baseline, you can actually start those strokes on the baseline. So I'm gonna do that, and even though that's not typically how I teach it, I feel like for this stroke pattern, it just looks super clean. And I'm just flowing it over. Now right about here in your transition, you want it to flow. So make sure that these strokes have a fluid appearance to them. So see how that movement looks fluid?